Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I have no proof for that, Kashish. I have no idea. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I think there is a way. Abhinav, just email me about that. I'll forward it to the technical department. I think there's a way. There's a way. We'll wait for 2 minutes and then we'll begin. Dharmendra, the constitution already says India, that is Bharat, and the Hindi constitution says Bharat Arthat India. So they're not renaming anything. The constitution already says that we are Bharat. So yeah. Ankit, optional you're saying. I don't know though. I hope you're talking about optional. So I don't know who it is, but you'd email me. I'll get you connected to someone who can at least tell you. We'll wait 1 more minute and then we'll begin. I've enabled the live call feature. If you want to call, you can call. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Okay. So we have to cover basically revenue administration, general administrative terminologies. Then we will move to Mansabdari, then Rajput policy, religious policy, and last but not the least, decline of Mughal Empire. These are the basic points we have to discuss. So total 6 topics we have to cover, important in that regard. Nitin, that should be sorted soon. I know that there's an issue with regards to that. That should be sorted. That should be. Okay. Can I start with revenue administration? Everybody's ready? Revenue administration. So we are cognizant of it, Nitin. Don't worry. Okay. So let's try to understand the model which Akbar inherited from Sher Shah. From Sher Shah. Model is very straightforward. Every year, every season, Kanungo sends market price to Agra. Wazir Finance Department compiles a ray list. Ray list is sent to Munsif. And I did not introduce two words with you. Munsif sends it to Amin. Amin sends it to Amil. Now, who's an Amin? Who's an Amil? Amin is a revenue assessor. Revenue assessor. And Amil is a revenue collector. Who will come first, Amin or Amil? Amin. The Amin will come first. He will assess. He will collect. So the simple point is sent compiles. Is sent to Munsif. Munsif will indicate it to the revenue assessor, and the Amil will then go and collect according to that. And both will apply the same formula: 1/3 into produce into array. Anybody has any issue in this? This we already discussed. Anybody has any issue in this? Any word? Dharmendra, were you there in the last session? A part? Yes or no? Then why are you asking me what is ray? What is ray? Come on, tell me. What is ray? What is in your mind is ray? What is ray? Can anybody tell Dharmendra what is ray? What is ray? In Hindi it is Kiran. Not ray of light. Dharmendra, we had a proper discussion under Shersha about differential crop rate. Is it not called ray? So, list of central crop rate, Abhinav says, Yera says, new tax based on market cost. Ray refers to central list of different crops. Crop rate, crop tax prices. What do we call Munsif in English? Munsif is revenue, you call him DC, district collector. Collector. He's basically the one who is the revenue officer of that area. How this model applies to zamindars? Difference. Now, what we are happening is we are going backwards. You all are able to are trying to articulate, but you are not able to put it in the right way. See, what is ray? Ray is the rate at which the, if you want to call it, the revenue in kind is converted into cash, or is the rate at which the revenue in produce is converted into cash according to crop. That is ray. Ray literally translates as crop rate, which is at what rate will the crop be produced, would be changed into cash tax or cash tax. So a varying rate set by the Kanungo at which the produce will be acquired in the form of money. It changes as per the crop, not same for all crops. Neil, the only issue is that it is not set by the Kanungo, it is set by the Central Imperial Finance Department. Kanungo only sent the market price. Okay. Don't use the terms like MSP and FRP, totally different. Different price, different rate. Ray is the rate fixed by royal household for crop in Suri dynasty. Again, the terminology royal household is totally wrong. It is set by the finance minister, the wazir. Central crop rate listed Shersha defined as one third produce. Okay. See, this is why when I ask you that do you understand, you all say yes. And then after 1.5 hours, more or less everybody is confusing themselves for a reason. You understand it, but you're not able to articulate it. Please understand this point. Please understand this point. I'm very simple. This is before and after, literally before and after. So when you say yes, you have to be conceptually clear. Now, because I'm repeating what we are doing. Now, this is called Gajini effect. This is literally called Gajini effect. That I tell you something and after half an hour you forget it. Like what? Kya re kon Kiran? No, that is not the way. So if you say yes, I'll repeat multiple times at that point of time. But now I'm wasting time basically. But still I'll go it. Now tell me one thing. If I take wheat in kilos, is it tax in cash? If I'm taking wheat in kilos, 10 kgs I've got as tax. Is it tax in cash? No. Now you tell me, how do I ask the person to convert this into cash? If I have to convert this into cash, I have to multiply it with something, which is that what is the prevailing cost? So the point is that before Sher Shah, they had for wheat, rice, for millet, for vegetables, for horticulture, whatever, a fixed rate. But are these products sold at the same price? Are these products sold at the same price? No, they aren't. So very simply, Sher Shah, what he does is, he says, I will convert the tax in kind or produce into cash, not on fixed rate, but on a differential rate. You all are economists, but somehow you're not able to understand this very simple point, which is that differential rate of taxation for each and every crop. If every crop is sold at the market in a different price, why should they be taxed at the same rate? Are you getting the logic? What is ray? If you still have a problem, you tell me, because I will presume that you understand now. Dharmendra, do you understand what is ray? Not ray of light, not Kiran. We are talking about ray as a differential crop rate. I want everybody's yes. The number of people who are here and the number of people who are replying is not equal. And if you ask me later what is ray, when I will discuss Zabti or Dehsala, then I will not repeat. I will presume that you were sleeping when I was telling you this. So, is this correct? Is this clear? What is ray? When I say this ray, are you clear about it? Now, this is the model which Akbar takes, or which Akbar has. Anybody has issue in Amin or Amil? Because later again, don't tell me, sir, what is Amin Amil? Does anybody have an issue? Fundamental, basic, slightest of no issues. Could it be? It may be anything. But is everybody clear about the difference between an Amin and an Amil? Yes, no, as it is, nobody can see your comment. So if you do want me to repeat, then you tell me. Vivek, if you're saying yes, then tell me what is the aspect. There is Abhinav and Vivek said yes. Okay. Amin is the person who comes to you and says, okay, you are sowing wheat. This is the prevailing rail list which has come to us. I expect you to give me rupees 28. This task is not important for the farmer, but for the state to assess how much tax will be collected. The Amin only assesses. The one who goes and physically collects it is Amil. So after the harvest, who will come to meet you? Amin or Amil? After the harvest, Amil will come. Amil will come after harvest. Pre-harvest, Amin will come. At the time of sowing, Amin will come. At the time of cutting, Amil will come. Kanun goes, they do not decide They only communicate the price. That's it. Their task is to make a list. Okay, potatoes for this much, wheat for this much, rice for this much. They do not decide. They just pass information. Because every district would have a Kanun Go. Multiple Kanun Goes, thousands of Kanun Goes will send different rates. An average would may be taken, and then the rail list will be decided, so that everywhere it is just. It is not a complex system. Every year, every season, Kanun goes to the market. He makes a list. How your mother sends you to the market to check what is the rate of vegetables. You are the Kanun Go. Then it goes to the central finance department. Once the central finance department sees, okay, this is the prevailing list, they say, okay, wheat is selling somewhere for 8 rupees, somewhere 7 rupees, somewhere 8, somewhere 9. 8 is a good amount which we can ask for central rail list. That will be communicated to the Munsif, who's the revenue department head at the district level. He will give that list to the Amin. Amil will go and communicate it to the peasant. Once the peasant has cut his crop, Amil will say that the Amin told me that you owe 28 rupees to us. Now this is the ray which was decided. One third of produce is here. Sell it and give me that money. Amin collects. Amil collects. Amin assesses. Anybody has any issue in this? Yes, Amin very simply tells the farmer how much he should owe. Amil is the tax collector, the one who goes and collects. Assessment and collection, two fundamentally different words. Can I now talk about the problems in this issue, in this system, and how Akbar changed it? Is everybody clear? I have put in half an hour for this. I presume that you know this, but you still are saying there are issues. Amin tells, Amil collects. Yes. Can I talk about the issues? Okay. Now, pay attention. Stop typing, pay attention. Now, this is happening every year, every season. Can anybody tell me what would be the prerequisite for such a system to work? What would be the prerequisite for such a system to work? This whole 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is the prerequisite? What will be the prerequisite for this system to work for 5 levels? Not rainfall. Think as an administrator, you want to be an IAS officer. Tell me what is the issue. What could be the issue in 5 levels and doing it every year, every season? Fertile land, coordination, corruption. Okay. 1 point taken corruption. Other than that, checks and balances, again using very big words. Think of it as an operational issue. What is the issue? Not too much stress on farmers. Yes, Hari. Time consuming. I'm not looking for big words. If you look at it, there is Kharif and Rabi, 2 seasons. Zaid if you had 3 seasons, but Kharif and Rabi being the two most important. Now tell me one thing. In an age where there is no email, there is no WhatsApp, there is no electronic media, physically Kanungo has to send it to Agra, then Agra will send it to each and every district. Very simply, all districts are communicating to Agra and Agra has to communicate to everyone. Is this process going to actually work if the empire is very big? No. So, very simply, when Akbar uses this system, two issues emerge. Because he has a big empire, first is considerable delay in ray compilation and communication to the amine and amyl. And second, it is corruption or misinformation by Kanun goes. What I mean by that is very simply, the process is that before sowing and after harvest, ray should be available. But in the empire of Akbar, the Kharif ray compilation is happening in the Rabi season, Rabi Kharif. The peasant does not know what is the price he would have to pay to the state before he's sowing. And by the time the harvest is coming, again the ray list is not available. Because the empire is too big and there is grassroots level movement of data from each and every Kanungo, then the process of delay is going to impact the peasants. It's going to impact the peasants. It is all now becoming guesswork. Sher Shah Suri had a small empire, so this process was easy. In the sense, the Kanungos maximum hundreds used to send it to Agra. Agra used to compile it, and maximum it used to take 2 to 3 months. Now, when the empire is from Gujarat to Bengal to Jammu and Kashmir to even parts touching what we call as Andhra Pradesh, the problem is going to be there is too much delay in the Kanungo sending the thing. So from the point A1 to point 5 and point 5 to 1, there is too much time which is being pushed in. So there are delays. This is the first issue. Second is that very simply, the Kanungos are sending the wrong data. There's no check and balance. The prevailing rate may for example, just may be 5 rupees. And he may be sending 3 rupees. So now the point is that the ray list, how representative it is of actually the market price is also questionable. So very simply, the problem is that he cannot rely on this system because there is multiple delays which is causing resentment in the peasants, and the Kanungos are not very reliable at this point of time. So do we understand the problem and do we understand the system? How Akbar is facing two fundamental issues in the system which he inherited from Sher Shah Suri. If you don't understand, you still tell me, I'll repeat it. But not for the sake of repeating, you tell me what you're not able to understand. Kanungo to Amil information has to flow. In between, Agra is there. Multiple districts have to report to Agra. Agra then has to send messengers to each district. A big, very big empire, it will never sustain. Further, if there is no check and balance, Kanungos can actually very simply send any data without even going to the market. So are we clear with regards to the system and its problems? Why Suri and Akbar have different consequences? Vivek, listen to me. I am saying empire scale, the bigness of the empire. If the prerequisite of this system to work is it has to be a small empire. Akbar has a much bigger empire. The more the area, the more communication delays will happen. Now, how did Akbar tackle it? But before I do that, very simply, because I've been using this word, see, Wazir Diwan is a word which is used for head of department or revenue department. That is why I'm being using the word Wazir, Wazir, Wazir. I'll talk about Subedar, who's basically the governor. You have Mir Bakshi. You have to learn this. You have to learn this 1, 2. Then you have Vakya Navis, very important, a person who reports the news in different parts of the empire itself. Then Qazi is not an issue for you, the judicial department. Then you have Sadar. Sadar is again Sadar Sudur, if you remember, the same word for religious endowments. And simply the one which you have to learn is Mir Sanam. Sanam is the one who takes care of the karkhanas and the things which are working for the royal household. Basically, the king is comfortable or not. These are the words which are there. And Amin and Amil I have added to it already. Now, Akbar has two issues: delay and misinformation. Anybody wants to say anything right now, please tell me. If not, I will move to then see how did Akbar actually change it. No issue? Now, listen to me. Still a lot of you are not saying anything. There's still a lot of you are not saying anything. So I presume that Samishta and Takdees are saying for everybody. Okay. Now, two major issues: delay, delay, and corruption. Now, the answer to the delay is, to the corruption is, that Akbar appoints a new officer over the Kanungo, and they were called Karoris. Their function is check and match and cross check all the data provided by Kanungos. So now the structure is Kanungo, then Karori, then Wazir, then Munsif, then Amin, then Amil. So very simply, he has added one more layer here to as an oversight for misreporting. So very simply, he is a new officer who just has to check if the data sent by the Kanungo is correct or not. If the data sent by the Kanungo is correct or not. So the Karori is an officer. He's an officer whose task is very straightforward. Check if the data is correct or not. Anybody has any issue in Karori? Just adding one more layer of check and balance. No? Now comes delay. And the answer to the delay is the concept developed by Todermal called the Sala system or Todermal Bandobast. It may be more delay. I'll tell you Takdees. How did he undercut that? Karori can take more time. Very good. What if correction at Amin level? That is a separate issue altogether. That is Munsif's problem. Now, you all made a very good question, very good observation that this would add time. So that time, because Karoris will cross check. So cross check will delay more. Totally correct. But the answer to it is the way he tackles it. Everybody's with me? Very good point pointed out. Further delays. Everybody's with me. No issues in whatever is written on this slide except for Dhasala. I have to tell you what is Dhasala. Yes? Okay. Now pay attention. Akbar says that why do we need to make the rail list every year? what he very simply does is, he asks his finance department to take an average of past 10 years market price to determine rate. So, for example, wheat price between 1580 to 90. So it was, for example, 5, 10, 8, 7, 5, 10, 12, 8, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And 9. 10, this was the rupees, this is the rate between 80 to 90. The engineers in the class, what is the average of this? What is the average of this? Statisticians average. Akbar is illiterate. He can't understand. Pratik, he is illiterate, but not his officers. Todarmal is not illiterate. Neither is Wazir is illiterate. He has ideas. He has people to implement. What is the average of this? Come on. Somebody is saying 7.5, somebody is saying 7.9, 8.1, I think, is the right. So we average out it to rupees 8. We add it out to rupees 8. Now, very simply, Akbar will fix the rate at rupees 8. Now, this ray will not change season to season or year to year. It can be changed whenever the state needs to. Not forever rate, but subject to change. Now, this is the master stroke which Todermal does for Akbar, which is that they say that, okay, Karoris are going to take more time. Yes, we will cross-check all data. But why is there a need to make the ray list every year? I can take the 10-year average, which will be representative of the market price which was prevailing, and I will communicate it to the peasant. If the peasant thinks that it is a good rate, he can produce that commodity or that crop, and the peasant also knows that this rate can be there for 1 year, can be there for 2 years, can be there for 5 years, and also can be changed within 1 year also. It is totally on how the imperial finance department takes or understands this issue. So Akbar first master stroke is that he does not need to produce the ray list every year. He does one more thing. He goes a step further. While ray is calculated as 10-year average, and that is why it is called Dahsala, 10 Sala system. 10-year average, Dahsala system. He says that why not do one thing? Let's multiply it with the 10-year average produce also. And then take the 1/3 to get cash tax. See, it's very simple because this way it gives certainty to the peasant and no need for assessment every year. See, There are two words which are there in Mughal, what we call as revenue administration, Jama and Hasil. Jama is total revenue projected, and Hasil is total revenue collected. So you would have seen it for sure in budget, in our budget also. There's something called advanced estimate, AE, revised estimate, RE, tax actuals, or actual collection. You would have seen these words, small words written, which is that what was projected and what was collected. This is the projected revenue, and this is the actual revenue. Now tell me one thing. Would you want Jama and Hasil to be equal, less than, or more than each other? You would want Jama and Hasil. What type of relationship would you want? Equal or more? Very simply, it should be something like this. No, the other way around. It should be something like this, which is that either Hasil and Jama should be equal, or it should be more than what is estimated. Please understand this point. Understand this point. See, this is complicated. Try to understand. It's not complicated if you go with me. I'm going to again repeat. Kanun go send the data to Wazir. Wazir sends it to Munsif. Munsif sends it to Amin. Amil. Small empire, no delays. Big empire, two issues emerge. Delay is happening. Kanungos are sending wrong data. Now, if you look at it, if these two things are going to be there, what type of relationship will be there between Jama and Hasil? Jama is what is projected, and what is going to be collected is Hasil. Kya Hasil kiya? Kya Jama hai? So, what is, if these two things are going to be there, what will be the relationship between Jama and Hasil? You use your basic understanding. Jama will be more than Hasil. Basically, what they will actually get will be less than what they projected, because delay is happening, or there is delay and corruption. Now, Akbar wants to bring in three things. First, he wants to make sure that his relationship between Jama and Hasil are either equal to or more than what is projected. And for doing that, he needs to address the two issues. First, he needs to stop delays, and second, he needs to stop corruption. To stop corruption, he has appointed a Karori who very simply checks all data. But that increases the time. Now, for certainty in revenue, you have to somehow get certain type of understanding of how much I am. See, for a state, if they get first year 1 lakh crore, next year get 2 lakh crore, 1 year again get 1 lakh crore, but then they get 50,000 crores, or they get 20,000 crores, then again they get 2 lakh crore, then again they get 10,000 crores. Is this type of revenue budgeting good if there is variation in the budget itself? No. A state wants certainty. That certainty can only come if revenue is certain. So rather than Akbar every year deciding, okay, this is going to be the rate, this is the produce, this is the share, this is the Jama, this is the Hasil. He rather said, let's do one thing. Let's very simply take 10-year average of everything. I am going to, the 10-year average of price or of wheat was 5, 10, 8, 7, 5, 10, 12, 8, 7, 9. He knows that more or less at an average rate of 8 it will sell. Some year it can be more, some year it can be less. That is on the peasant to choose. Now this decides that the rate has been fixed and there is no need of sending the data every day or every year. That saves money. On the other hand, if a farmer, for example, if a farmer between 1580 and 1590, 1580 and 1590, he is on an average able to produce 100 kgs, 50 kgs, 80 kgs, 100 kgs, 90 kgs. Some year he was able to get only zero, crop failure was there. Then 70 kgs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Thereafter 80, 90, 100. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Give me an average of this. Give me an average of this. 73, 76, 77. Everybody is giving me a wrong, different number altogether. You have to divide it by 10, so that is not an issue. 70, I've received 73, 76, 77, 75, 77, 76. So who should I trust in this? 76 is now becoming more ubiquitous. Who do I trust, or do I do 76 pakka? Okay. Okay, 76 kgs. Now tell me one thing. If I'm a wheat producer, I know that my revenue obligation is 1/3 into 76 into 8. This may not change for multiple years. Isn't this a good thing for both the state and the peasant? Tell me, isn't this a good thing for the state and the peasant? Yes, it is. Because Tagdis, understand, because the peasant knows how much he owes to the state, and the state knows this is how much it is going to come. This is very simply giving certainty to the Jama and certainty to the peasant. If it's a good year, it could help the peasant. If it's a bad year, it could help the state. But the state at least knows that we are going to get this much for sure. If you are good at modern India, isn't this what the British were chasing when they introduced permanent settlement? Isn't this what British were chasing when they introduced permanent settlement? Tell me, yes or no? The British, the problem was this only, na? Bengal sometimes was giving too much money, sometimes too less money, too much money, too less money. What did Cornwallis did? He said, forever fix the tax so that we know how much is going to come. But Todermal is not dumb. He said, I will not forever fix this rate or forever fix this average. I will change it when I need to. But this is very what is called dahsala. Everything is an average so that the state does not need to assess every year. And basically, out of Amin and Amil, whose work becomes useless? You tell me. Application of knowledge. Whose work becomes useless? Amin's. Because if every year this is going to be asked, then what's the point of sending the assessor? Only the tax collector is going to go and collect the tax itself. This is called Tahsala system. To put it in very simple terms, did this make sense? First, you tell me, did this make sense? Are you understanding the concept what Todermal wanted to introduce via Tahsala system? Yes. Now, I'll put it in one slide and it should make sense. See, very simply, in order to address delay and bring certainty in Jama and Hasil, Akbar introduces the Hasala system. The Sala system is that the state takes average of 10-year average of produce and market price to decide on the tax obligation in cash. So tax equals to 1/3 of produce 10-year average multiplied into Ray 10-year average of produce 10-year average of market price. Anybody has any issue in any of the words which are written here? Because then I will write the advantage and disadvantage, or rather the advantages of the system. Any word written on this slide, anybody has any issue? Come on, you have to be more vocal if you want to understand this. It is very easy to understand. Statement based questions will come. Nobody is going to ask you to solve a numerical. It's not CSAT, it's only understanding. Okay. Now, what is the advantage? What is the advantage of this system? Advantage is delays don't matter as Ray is fixed once and is subject to revision not every season or year. Second, reduces variation between hasil and jama. Third, Kanungo and Karori work only needs to be put in when need for revision. Less burden on peasant and state machinery. Then the revenue of the state is fixed. Not forever, but it is. Yes, in a way, the revenue of the state is fixed. Is Dehsala clear? And the advantage is clear. Third point, Karori and Kanungo in previously had to constantly do something. Now they don't need to. For example, 1 year they will do. Over the next years, only note the data and send the data only when revision is needed. So therefore, they don't have to be always on their toes. The machinery can rest, and that saves money to the state itself. Avni, makes sense? Okay. Now tell me one thing. Who thought that medieval India was so technical? But you see, these are systems which they were developing in 1500s. Okay. So peasant can grow accordingly any crop. Yes, the peasant has the choice to take any crop according to the, because they know, for example, they produce wheat and they did not get a lot of profit. But he saw somebody producing rice and he knows that rice is giving a lot of profit. So what he will do is that he will accordingly change his crop. He will not basically do an impulsive move, but have a good understanding that, okay, this is the obligation I need to give. Now, one more thing, very simple point is, if, for example, for 3 years, the tax obligation was rupees 26, doesn't it give the peasant incentive to produce more than what is actually obligated for? because as the state's demand is very simply fixed, if he's able to extract more, isn't it what he gets? So there's an incentive for the peasant to choose a crop in which the demand is constant and he can get more out of it. This is the beauty of this system. At the same point of time, it is simply quenching all issues. The peasant is better informed. The peasant has a better choice. The peasant does not take a rash decision. The average means that he is not giving something as an extraordinary amount also. And if he is able to extract more, it is the profit of the peasant itself. So very simply, the Hasala system solves all issues together. Delays don't matter because it has been fixed once, and very simply, it works in the proper way. Drawback, only one thing is that the peasant has to pay in cash. That is it. Is Desala clear? Because then I will complicate Desala. Because we are still not reached Zapti. Zapti is one step forward from Desala. I have everybody's consent, every person sitting here. Then some crops produce will goes down. Sure, why not? That is market correction. That is not our problem. We are not sitting in 1535 that we have to take tension about that. Simple point is, Desala Toderbal Bandhu, same thing. Can I go a step further? Please tell me that. Because if I say Dasala, I want you to know that you mean understand Dasala. Yes? Okay. Now tell me one thing. Tell me one thing. Average produce is taken, average rate is taken, 1/3 is taken. I have 100 acres and I produce 100,000 kgs. And I have only 20 acres and I produce 1000 kgs. Who is a better farmer? This is A, this is B. B, second one. But won't they pay the same tax? Won't they pay the same tax? They will pay the same tax because produce is exactly the same. If they will pay the same tax, is it just? Is it right? Is it justified that two people, 5 times more land he has, and still he pays the same tax for a person who is doing it efficiently? So Akbar also, like you said, it is not justified. So he said that Dehsala gives an advantage to people to not produce more than what they need to. So he said, in Dehsala, add land measurement. And if you have more land, your ray will go up. And when you add land measurement to the Sala system, it is called the last, which is Zabti system. It's called Zabti system. Zabti is Desala plus land measurement. What will happen is his land will be measured, his land will be measured. He will have a ray which is higher, he will have a ray which is lower. Because he is doing better, he is doing worse. So either he starts to produce proportional to his land or he pays more ray. So basically it is penalizing somebody who's not doing good agriculture. So very simply, very simple. What is Zabti system? This is the last slide about Zabti. Then I have to discuss 3 systems with you. Who will measure the land? Amin will measure the land. He is the one who will do it. Now, what is this? Is after this I have to discuss 3 more systems. Then you get a break. Zabti. What is Zabti system? Very simple, straightforward, simple. See, Zabti system is tax is collected in cash based on 1/3 demand of 10-year average produce multiplied by the 10-year average array based on total land holding. So it is 10 साला system plus land measurement equals to Zapti. For more technical, one third, rather, because this may be more clear, one third into produce average into ray average condition or function of land size. Now does it make sense what is Zapti? Charge taxes, extra charges on land, having more land. Yeah, in a way. I can give you a very simple working example of this also. Very simple working example. Straightforward example. All produce wheat. He has very fertile land. You can add fertility to it also. Very fertile land. 10 acres. You can have 20 acres. Very fertile land. And middling land 20 acres. Ray for example will vary for each one of them. Maybe if ray is rupees 8 for example standard for everyone, he could be charged rupees 8. He could be charged rupees 8 because he has very fertile land but small holding. He could be charged rupees 12 because very fertile land, big area, and he because does not have a very good land, he could be charged at 8 only because fertility also matters. So you could have variability in ray based on average fertility and land holding size. I cannot be more comprehensive than this. I'm literally teaching you at an academic level. This much detail is not even needed. I'm teaching you at a BA honors level, wherein I'm trying to go into the technicalities. I'll show you what is actually written in the book, and you will see it is not that comprehensive. Are we clear with regards to anybody now understands or everybody understands what is the nitty-gritty of this system? Very, very, very interesting that ways. You talk about systems which are very, very complex. This is also a very complex system. Imagine applying it in a period where there was no digital documentation. With no digital documentation, everything was done on paper and everything was recorded to the last rupee, which is very, very big that way. So now let me read it out of the PPT. It will make more sense to you, I hope. Very simply, during the decade, middling means good, middling, bad, land is divided like that. During the decade following conquest of Gujarat, Akbar found time to look at the administrative problems. One of the most important problems Akbar was facing was the fact of revenue administration. Now, Sher Shah has instituted a system of cultivable area measured, a crop rate which is Ray, drawn up fixed dues according to crop wise based on productivity of land. So he had everything, but the problem was it was seasonal. The schedule was converted every year into central schedule of prices. Akbar did adopt Sher Shah system, but found fixing of central revenue often led to considerable delays and great hardship to the peasantry. Now, what did Akbar do? First, he went to annual assessment. He said, no ray and all. Let's first cool down. Then he appointed Karoris who were going to then check how many crore of dam. Dam is basically copper coin. I will tell you the terminologies. See, dinar or mohar is gold coin. Rupia is silver coin introduced by Sher Shah. Sher Shah introduced it. And dam is copper coin. So he was going to check. This is the term for the coin itself. He was going to check the data supplied by the Kanun goes. On the basis of this information, now after 1580, Akbar instituted a new system called Dasala. Now, what is Dasala? Under the system, the average produce of different crops as well as average price prevailing over the last 10 years was calculated. One third of the average produce was state share, and the state was asking it in cash. This was done by converting the state share into money on the basis of schedule of average prices over the past 10 years. Not only were the local prices taken into account, Parganas having same productivity were grouped together. Thus, peasants were required to pay on the basis of local productivity, local prices. The system was used, but when this system became Zapti, when measurement and assessment, which is measurement of land, was added to this system, which made it Zapti. From Lahore to basically the Doab region, the Sala system was applied and later evolved into Zapti in that regard. Now, is everybody totally clear about Zapti, its advantages, the concept itself? Because then I want to discuss these three and then end this section itself. Because then I want to discuss Mansabdari. Yes? Come on. Okay. Now, when it came to Mughal India, the peasant, however, had a choice. And he was not obligated to take Zapti because he had four choices. So you have a A, peasant A. He is approached by the Amin. The Amin. The Amin. Amin, what does he do? What does Amin do? Assessment. So, pre-sowing of crop, farmer A is approached by Amin. Is approached by Amin. And he asks what assessment you want to choose. So the peasant says, what are my options? Like a UPSC aspirant, he wants options. So the Amin says, you have four options. First is that you take Zapti system. One third produce array 10-year average. And in this, demand is in cash. Demand is in cash. Zapti, everybody understands? Everybody understands Zapti? Nobody. Now, the next option is Khet Batai or Galla Bakshi. These words are till today used. Batai and nasak. So now the farmer says to the Amin, what is khet batai? What is khet batai? So khet batai, as it actually means the way it is in the name itself, in khet batai what happens is that Amin designates a portion of land which is a portion of land allocated to the state and whatever is produced in that area is a state share. The exact terminology is division of standing crop. So it will be pre-harvest, post-harvest. It will be pre-harvest or post-harvest. Pre-harvest division. Now, what is the advantage to the? It is advantage to peasant because he can do two things. Does not have to sell the crop in market, because what will happen is Amil will collect the standing crop and sell it for cash. So the peasant does not have to sell the crop in market, and second, the peasant can manipulate the crop. What do I mean by this? If I'm a very small farmer, maximum 10 kgs I produce. What is the point of me going, cutting the crop, taking it to the market, selling in the market, getting the cash and giving it to the Amil? Rather, I'll say that this much area you have designated, whatever grows there, you cut it and you sell it. The advantage is that for a small farmer, you don't have to go to the market. Subsistence farming can be done better. But the problem for the state is that if I'm a farmer, I will water these crops more than these crops. I already know that part of the khet, I have to give it to the state. Then why would I give too much care to that part? I will only do it to the part which I have to keep. So khet batai, demand is in produce, and this one will be preferred by the peasant. Very simply, this is for a small farmer. Small farmer. But now the state can see that this is the problem. So the state would rather want batai. Batai is very straightforward. Post harvest, there are stacks of the produce on the threshing floor. So I have just cut the produce, and now the amil will indicate to amil that it is batai. So the amil, what he will do is he will come and say state share is 1/3. So I will take 1/3 out of it. I will take 1/3 out of it. I will take 1/3 out of it, which is that I will take the best stacks or produce, and the amil will then sell it in the market for cash. So very simply, the difference is pre-harvest, post-harvest. Here, the advantage is at to the state. Advantage to state because best crop can be selected. Best crop can be selected. And advantage to peasant. What is the advantage of to peasant? Please tell me. What would be the advantage to the peasant? Yes. Do not need to go to the market, and state bears the risk with peasant. Here also state bears the risk with peasant. If something happens to the crop, both of them will bear the concept. So here also the demand is in produce, but whilst this is pre-harvest, this is post-harvest. This is called division of standing crop. This is called division of cut crop on threshing floor. Anybody has any issue in khed batai and batai? Very logical, very straightforward. Batai till today is used in most parts of India, wherein you divide the produce once it is cut. Anybody has any issue here? No problem, sir. Then the farmer, after listening to all of this, like you, has the exact face which you have right now. He's like, kyun? Why? Why so complicated? Why so many systems? I don't want to go into this khed batai, cash, this no. I will go for nasak. Which is that demand is in cash, no need for assessment, pay exactly the same dues as last year. Standing harvest, rough calculation of amount payable by the peasant based on what he has done in the past. Now, can anybody tell me who would like nasak? Who would like nasak? Who would be the one who would prefer nasak? A farmer with what type of income? See, a farmer who has multiple sources of income will not want the state to get to know about his multiple sources. 1000 रुपए देने हैं, I have to pay 1000 rupees. You take 1000. Now you don't care where I got it from. Isn't it straightforward? If I'm a very small farmer, I would like khed batai. If I'm a farmer who knows my stuff, I will go for batai. But if I have farming, animal husbandry, I have multiple crops, I have multiple sources, I'm getting certain amount of revenue from, for example, some loan I've given, then why would I want to go for all this assessment and all? I will say to the Amin, you want 1,000, you take 1,000. This. What did I owe last year? According to Zapti, all the drama we did, we went to 1,000 rupees. Now, I'll give 1,000. You take this 1,000, go. So, Nasak very simply is for a farmer who has multiple incomes, so that he just pays off the state and says, okay, go. So for a small and middling farmer, Khet Batai and Batai were available. For a good farmer, Zapti was available. And for a farmer who has multiple incomes, Nasak was available. The state would never force any of these systems. All were available, but the state would prefer Batai over Khet Batai. So in the examination, if they give you statement-based questions on these concepts, will you be able to identify based on their characteristics, is it Khet Batai Galla Bakshi, is it Batai, it is Nasak, or is it Zapti system? Will you be able to do it? If yes, then I give you a break, because then revenue administration is done. Yes? Yes. Okay. Last thing, certain terminologies which is there for land. Pulaj is a land which is cultivated every year. This term is again used. Parti land is fallow for gaining fertility. Chanchar and Banjar, the difference is if you have it fallow for 2 to 3 years, then it is Chanchar. If it is Banjar, means you have never produced it for 3 years and above. Takavi is a loan which the state can give to a peasant if he needs it. These words I am going to discuss once I'm back from the break, when I will discuss with you the concept of Mansabdari. Khet Batai Galla Bakshi, exactly same thing. So before I give you a break, we are entering module number 5. 3 chapters out of Satish Chandra, 1 chapter out of 7th class NCRT. We've already discussed agrarian structures. I need to discuss Mansabdari with you. For that, I need your permission to say, yes, sir, revenue administration, perfectly clear. I am capable enough of becoming Amin in Mughal Empire if I am transported there today. Or if I am by somehow transported through a time machine to Mughal India, I will understand what is Nasak, what is Batai, Khet Batai, and Zapti system. Yes? You all are capable of that? Great. Great. So I will see you at 5:17. We take a break. Rather, we'll come back at 5:15 only, because I want to do Mansabdari. I need flow for that. 5:15, we'll come back, and we will take this story forward. 5:15 we come back, go on till 5:40, if needed till 6. I'll give you a 20-minute break somewhere for sure, so don't worry about that. I leave you here with this. 5:15, I'll be back. Okay, welcome back. Sir, what type of questions come in ancient medieval? Current affairs based. You tell me, can there be a current affairs based question in ancient medieval? Until unless the personality has been in the news, so I'll discuss that with you. If it's a current affairs question, most probably it's an art and culture question, thinking or looking like an ancient medieval question. Modern, you can get more current affairs. Ancient medieval is, for example, a personality has been in the news throughout. Then why not? Okay. Can we discuss Mansabdari? Still number is down. Rather, let's do one thing. Let's do one thing. Let's do Rajput. I will do Mansabdari after the break because there's a chance that you need a little bit more time to understand Mansabdari. So we'll do it after from 6 to 8 session. Maybe 1 hour we'll need for Mansabdari because I don't want to break in between. So let's choose to do Rajput and religious policy, and we'll come back to Mansabdari after the break. After the break, acceptable because number has again gone down. Half of them will then do Gajni effect. What Mansabdari, what Jagirdari, what this and that. So can we rather talk about Rajput? We'll do Rajput first. Okay. No Vivek, no connection. Now let's talk about Rajputs. Now, see, the Rajputs were a very important part of, and see, you can't expect a question out of here. It's a very theoretical part that way. The Rajputs were a very important community, a very important Kshatriya community of India generally, the Gujarat, Maharashtra, and the Rajasthan sector was always dominated by Rajput dynasties. We already know Chauhans, Tomars, Chandelas. We know about the Solankis, the Paramars, Gahadwalas, all Rajputs. Now, when Babur won over Medini Rai and the Rajput Confederacy, Babur Humayun basically never followed a standard policy towards the Rajputs. Rather, they had a very circumstantial based relationship. If you're a friend, for example, Rana Sanga called, sure, if you are not going to be a friend, I will fight with you. Humayun again had that type of relationship. Ironically, born at Amarkot, Humayun had a little bit better relationship with the Rajputs, but it was a circumstantial relationship. Nobody really followed a proper Rajput policy. The first one to actually develop a Rajput policy was no one else but Sher Shah Suri. Sher Shah Suri had a very standard concept. It's easier to befriend them or to make them accept overlordship than to fight with each one of them. So his policy was very straightforward. The ones who are very, very powerful and are not ready to very simply accept a hand of friendship, fight with them. And he avoided conflict rather than fighting with them. So he very simply said that you know that I have the power, and he did that. I have the power. There are 4 major forts which the Rajputs have. One is called Kalinjar, Chittod, Ranthambore, and out of these, if somebody is besieging Ranthambore, Kalinjar, these are very big forts, very big, heavy, standard forts which are there. And just to give you the exact names of them, you have Kalinjar, you have Ranthambore, Mewar, Merta, and Chittod. So if you are breaking through the Merta, Chittod, Ranthambore, and over and above that, the Kalinjar, Kalinjar forts, if you're breaking these 4 forts, then you have the power. That is for sure one of the biggest, most heaviest forts of the Rajputs. Now, first, Shesha Suri showed a power that, okay, I can break through Mirta, I can break through Ranthambore. So very simply, he said, why do you want to fight me? Rather, accept my suzerainty, my overlordship, and I will not touch you, and we can both operate with mutual coexistence and peace. This is what Sher Shah followed. But Sher Shah did not take it too far as much as Akbar did. So when we talk about Rajput policies, Babur had no planned policy. He fought with them, also took help from them. He married Humayun to one of the Rajput princes also. Humayun again had no standard policy. It is rather Sher Shah who desired to bring the Rajputs into his suzerainty. What he did was very simply in 1544, he attacked Marwar and succeeded in capturing large parts of it. Ranthambore was also captured by him. And thereafter, Mewar and Jaipur then accepted his sovereignty without fighting. Because he said that what's the point? If I can break Ranthambore, I can break Jaipur also. And therefore, he captured Kalinjar also to show his power. Simple point was, objective was, do not annex each one of them, rather make them accept suzerainty. I hope you understand what is suzerainty. Suzerainty, what I've already explained to you previously in ancient, in medieval, both. It is the concept of accepting someone's overlordship. Are we clear with regards to the concept of suzerainty? Influence, yes, to be under somebody's influence, you accept. For example, the best example of suzerainty is Nayankara system, that you accept the overlordship of the Raya, you are the Nayak. Same type of relationship you will develop. Now, he did not pursue it to the point he should have taken. Akbar was the one who actually pursued a planned Rajput policy, making him a very distinct ruler that is. Now, please pay attention. See, Akbar had a perpetual issue. His stepbrother is fighting. His, his nobles are Iranis, Turanis, Uzbeks, Afghans. Some are Indian Muslims. Some are coming from Safavid Empire. Some are coming from Deher, this, that. Too diverse a nobility. And that too, it's called infighting. They are fighting with each other. Irani is fighting with Turani. He can't trust his own stepbrother. The Uzbeks are rebelling. Sometimes the Iranis are rebelling. Very, very problematic nobility he had. So, what Akbar thought was that if I can integrate the Rajputs into my empire, and they are known to be loyal, they are known to be very, very brave, they are known to be extremely, extremely powerful when it comes to warfare. So, I can get a trusted, loyal group within the nobility. So, Akbar followed a three-step program, very straightforward three-step program. He had three simple stages. I will show you, I will tell you the three stages, then I'll give you the case study of how it actually happened. Three stage, very simple. First is show the Rajputs who he is. Akbar first showed the Rajputs via Merta, Ranthambore, Chittor, and Kalinjar. He captured all four forts, thereby weakening the Rajputs and thereby showing to the Rajputs that, see, I am at the end of the day Mughal emperor and I am not joking here. I'm actually powerful. Second step is the most interesting one. Now he said to each and every Rajput kingdom that you very simply accept my overlordship. I will give you your kingdom back. You are a king right now. I will make you a officer. Basically, he offers the very interesting position of what is called Jagirdar or Mansabdar, which I will discuss with you after the break itself. And he says that I will give you your area back. I give you full autonomy inside. Full autonomy inside. I will not play a role in the rule of succession. I will not do anything. I will never try to dictate your internal politics. All revenue collected is yours. Everything is yours. Just once a year, you come to my court, bring certain peshkash or what we call as a tribute, and show loyalty to me. That is it. Akbar knew that it was easier to befriend because fighting with each one of them would need resources. So rather, he said, I'm not going to touch you. You just simply join the Mughal Empire as an autonomous part itself. In return for that, I will also give you three offers. You can marry your daughter to me and I will become a relative, not compulsory. Matrimonial alliance, if you want, I can do matrimonial alliance. Second, I also am ready to employ your soldiers in the Mughal army, better salaries, better understanding. And I am also ready to employ your relatives in my nobility. So, for example, Bhagwan Das, Man Singh, Todarmal, all were basically nothing but the sons of the kings who had accepted the suzerainty of Akbar. Now, if you accept this part 2, then it's okay. If you don't accept part 2, for example, Mewar, Maharana Pratap, then I will fight with you. And thereafter, the Mewar is the best example of how the Mughals fought with till Battle of Haldi Ghati with Maharana Pratap and Mewars. So he had a very simple, straightforward strategy. It is easier to make a constellation of Rajput kings who are friends than very simply enemies. And he understood the fact that it is easier and much, much more better for the empire to befriend a Rajput than to fight with that Rajput. So, three-step process, very simple. See, Akbar was the first ruler to pursue a planned policy towards the Rajput. He brought in as much territory as possible. More than that, by adding them to suzerainty, he keeps them at safe distance. Akbar was impressed by the chivalry, faithfulness, dareness, fighting skills of the Rajputs generally. He preferred to befriend them rather than turning them into enemies. He wanted a dependable ally amongst the Indian people rather than taking Iranis, Tunalis who were basically foreigners. With the revolts of his own Mirzas and Afghans, he knew that he needed a loyal group within the group itself. Now, what was the basic strategy? Three-step process. Captured the strong forts of the Rajputs, Chittor, Merta, Ranthambore, Kalinjar. Very simply, he is now broken through the defenses of the Rajputs. Generally, thereafter, very simply, those Rajputs who either accepted his sovereignty or entered into matrimonial alliance with him voluntarily were left masters of their own kingdom. They were given high offices in the state and they were not touched. There was no interference of administration. This is where Aurangzeb was different. Aurangzeb's predecessors never touched into the succession of Rajputs. But Aurangzeb dictated the succession of Rathod Rajputs. And thereafter, Rajputs abandoned him. Ironically, the most important backbone and pillar of the Mughal Empire in India was not the foreigners, but rather the Rajputs who supported and gave strength to the Mughals in that regard. And those rulers who opposed him were attacked and efforts were made to make them accept the sovereignty. Best example is Mewar. Now, would you like to see a working example of something like this, where I can give you examples? This is the theory which he had. Can I give you the working example of how it actually worked? From the exam perspective, Rajput policy has no purpose to you. This is for your understanding. That is it. This from here, there can only be mains type questions which don't come only. So you see, this is the basic thing. In 1562, the fort of Merta was captured and Jaimal, a feudatory of the ruler of Mewar, thereafter had to give up. In 1568, Chittor was snatched away from Mewar. And in 1569, Raja Surjan Rai was forced to surrender fort of Ranthambore. The same year, Raja Ram Chandra voluntarily surrendered the fort of Kalinjar to Akbar because of the pressure which was there. Among the rulers who voluntarily accepted the sovereignty of Akbar, the first one was Raja Bharmal of Amer. He met Akbar in 1562, accepted his sovereignty, and married his daughters to him. The very prince gave birth to Salim, which is Harkaben, where simply Akbar thereafter gave high mansabs to the sons of Raja Bharmal. Two of them very important, very high officers, Bhagwan Das and Man Singh. Man Singh being the one of the most influential and powerful Rajputs within the empire itself. After the fall of the fort of Chittor, some Rajput states like Bikaner, Jaisalmer voluntarily accepted the sovereignty of Akbar, while some of them went into matrimonial alliance. The only one which actually fought is Mewar, which was later subdued in the Battle of Haldighati. And once Mewar was subdued, Orcha, Bundi, and Banaswara all came under the sovereignty of Akbar. Shah Jahan and Jahangir followed the same policy, basically Jahangir being son of one of the Rajput princes only. The simple point of the matter is Aurangzeb played with this policy too much, and once he, when and I will discuss decline with you, once he played too much to the internal politician Rathors, all Rajputs abandoned him. So, as a conclusion of this section, very simply, most of the Rajput rulers submitted to Akbar without fighting, entering into his service, becoming loyal allies rather than fighting with Akbar. The only one which refused was the Sisodias of Mewar. Due to Rajput policy of Akbar, Rajputs rather came together and became the strength of the Mughal Empire. And this was the greatest success of Akbar. And he was able to expand and strengthen the Mughal Empire. Neither did Akbar force the Rajput rulers to go into matrimonial alliance or ask the princesses to actually accept Islam. He respected all his wives, honored all his wives, and also did not make them basically respected their religion also. And all the relatives of these princesses were also given very good offices, from Todarmal to Man Singh to Bhagwan Das. Multiple examples are there. Now, very simply, what does this imply? See, Akbar is not Akbar because of his military strategies. No, everybody can fight. Akbar is Akbar because of his Rajput and religious policy. Rajput policy only shows his maturity in understanding the diplomatic understanding or the relationship within the whole empire itself. Akbar knew that fighting the Rajputs would be very, very draining to the empire itself. Rather, befriending, making them a part of the empire was easier, better, and he respected the Rajputs also. Rajputs also realized that it is better for them to be within the empire because that allows them for to hold the same area. Most important, if Akbar captured multiple Rajput places, imagine if Akbar captures Amber, Jaipur, Orchha, all of them, is there a chance of people rebelling? Is there a chance of people rebelling? Yes, because for them, the ruler has changed. Akbar will then appoint his own person, then that own person can be dangerous. Very simply, through Akbar's Rajput policy, for the people on the ground, nothing changes because the ruler remains the same, the revenue remains the same, the king has the same things. It's just that the king previously was independent. Now he's just accepting the suzerainty of Akbar. So Akbar avoided three things in one go. He avoided rebellion, he avoided internal conflict, and he rather avoided the way he would drain the empire of resources. What he gained was three things: very loyal, brave soldiers and administrators who he could rely on. Second, he consolidates the empire. And third, the most important, he now has a very important Indian group which impacts his policies, his orientation, and his understanding of India itself. And this is why Akbar is Akbar, and that is why Aurangzeb is considered Aurangzeb. He is considered what he is, whatever you want to call him. You like him, don't like him, that is not your prerogative. That is not my prerogative to change. But Akbar's policies reflected maturity. And that maturity is something which is expected from you as an administrator. Where does it actually make sense to go into alliances? Where does it actually make sense to fight? And how in certain moments the best way is to make that person accept your suzerainty than to actually go for war. If all of this makes sense, we'll take a break here. We come back in part C, discuss Mansabdari, religious policy decline, three very important modules vis-a-vis Mughal India, and we close Mughal India by 7:30. Yes? Come on. Yes, no, I have to say something. Great. Perfect. So I will see you at 6 o'clock exact, and we'll start the next session. See you. Take care. Bye-bye.